Last night my father-in-law laughed at my pathetic dinner, saying, "Women like you don't deserve a home, useless, lazy, a burden." My husband joined in, smirking. "She's only after my name and money." When I tried to speak, he cut me off. "Save the tears. If you worked half as hard on this marriage as you do feeling sorry for yourself, we'd eat better." No one spoke for me. I sat there silent as they broke me apart. Days later, my phone won't stop ringing. They're begging me now. Oh my God. Have you ever felt like you were living in a nightmare you couldn't wake up from? Like the people who were supposed to love you most were just tearing you apart piece by piece right in front of your kids? Because that's exactly how I felt last night. It was a betrayal so deep, so cutting. I honestly don't know if I'll ever look at my husband the same way again. So let me back up a little. Every Thursday, like clockwork, my in-laws come over. And let me tell you, it's never a picnic. It's more like a weekly endurance test. My husband, Kieran, always says it's good for the kids, that they need family time. And look, I get it. I don't want to deprive my children of their grandparents. But every single time it feels like I'm sitting a pop quiz I never studied for. And the stakes are my sanity. Kieran's parents are old school. And not in a charming, nostalgic way. His dad, William, genuinely believes women should just be grateful to be kept. And his mom, Alexa? She's the kind of woman who'll sweetly fix your hair mid-sentence while saying, "Oh, you're wearing that?" With a smile so perfect you can't even get mad. It's a special kind of passive aggression, truly. I try to keep things light, easy. Thursdays are brutal after a long week, so I usually make something simple. Yesterday was a pasta bake. Pasta, some veggies, cheese. Bake it, done. The kids love it, it's effortless. And after getting 3 school calls and mediating a full-blown meltdown over a lost water bottle before noon, I was not about to channel my inner Gordon Ramsay. The minute William walked in, I knew we were in for it. He had that particular everything offends me huff and puff routine down pat. He's been extra moody lately, probably feeling irrelevant as he ages, completely oblivious to the fact that we ignore him because, well, he rarely says anything worth hearing. It started with the food, of course. I was just trying to serve, and he's making these disgusted faces like he's sniffing something rotten. The kids, bless their hearts, started giggling, which only fueled his fire. He poked at the pasta bake with his fork and then with a sneer asked, "This the best you can do?" Honestly, I wasn't even shocked. He'd said worse. But then Kieran, my husband, instead of shutting him down or even just ignoring it, he smirked. And then he said, with this casual cruelty, something about how I only married him for his name and whatever imaginary property he thinks we own. Which, by the way, is insane. We have a mortgage and a car that barely passes inspection. I tried to jump in, a desperate whisper. "Can we please not do this in front of the kids?" But Kieran just cut me off. He looked right at me, a cold, hard look I barely recognized, and said, "Maybe if you put half as much effort into the marriage as you do into feeling sorry for yourself, we'd have a decent meal." Right there. In front of everyone. The words hung in the air, thick and poisonous. No one said a single word. Alexa just poured herself another glass of wine, her eyes glued to her phone, pretending the world wasn't imploding. The kids, who seconds before were giggling, went utterly silent. That was worse than any noise they could have made. I just sat there, frozen, because what else could I do? If I said anything, I'd be dramatic. If I left, I'd be making a scene. Just kept going. William piped up about my job, how it was cute that I worked, but real women focused on the home. For the record, my mom worked, and our house never burned down. Then he started on my clothes, how leggings aren't real pants, and how women cared about appearance back in his day. And it's not like I looked bad. I was just in comfy clothes after running errands and cleaning all day. Alexa, of course, said nothing. Just stared at the wall behind me like it held all the answers. Kieran, he just sat there, picking at his food, acting like this was all completely normal, like he was above it all. I tried to get the kids to eat, but they were watching, their little eyes wide. They know. They're old enough to know when something's wrong. My daughter, bless her heart, tried to say she liked the pasta, and William just talked right over her. Of course she does. Kids don't know any better. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him to shut up. But I was just so tired. I didn't have the fight in me. I just wanted dinner to be over. So I did what any millennial would do. I picked up my phone, scrolled Instagram, Texted my sister. Kill me. She sent back a meme which, shocker, did absolutely nothing. I vaguely heard William rambling about how my generation was soft, and how if I'd been in his house, I'd have been sent packing a long time ago. And Kieran? He was laughing. Actually laughing. I didn't even recognize him. I know he craves his dad's approval, but why did it have to be at my expense? It made no sense. At some point I just stood up. Started collecting plates. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to do anything with my hands. Alexa tried to say something about me looking upset. I just ignored her. I took the plates and dumped them in the sink. I didn't slam them, but I definitely didn't care if they chipped. Kieran then, with this smug, mocking tone, asked if I was going to cry. Cry. I was literally trying to get through the night without screaming at the top of my lungs. I just mumbled, "I'm fine." He rolled his eyes. The kids, thankfully, vanished to their room after dessert. I let them take their tablets. Honestly, screw screen time limits tonight. Alexa tried to make polite small talk about the weather, as if none of this had just happened. William was still muttering about the world gone mad. And Kieran, the audacity, actually asked what was for dinner tomorrow. I almost laughed, a hysterical, bitter laugh. I told him I didn't know. Maybe you should ask your dad for recipes, I said. He didn't think that was funny. I finished the dishes, then just walked to our bedroom. Locked the door. Not sure why, maybe just habit. I scrolled TikTok for an hour, mostly out of spite. Kieran came in later, didn't say a word. Just changed and went to sleep. I lay there wide awake, the words replaying in my head. How was I supposed to just act normal after that? I didn't sleep a wink. My mind raced. I thought about leaving. Not permanently, not yet, but just going somewhere for the weekend. Taking the kids, getting some space. But then the sheer exhaustion hit me. The thought of packing, planning, dealing with the fallout. Was I running away? Or finally doing something? I wondered what my friends would say, but most of them just brush it off. That's just how in-laws are. Or Kieran's probably stressed. And that's where I was. I felt like I was teetering on the edge, waiting for something to snap. I couldn't just let this go. But what do you even do? The image of them in my own house tearing me down so easily, like I was just an inconvenience, a maid taking up space. It burned. Kieran's embarrassed look. William's hatred for me not being his ideal woman. Alexa letting it all happen because that's all she'd ever done her whole life. I'm no perfect wife or mom. God knows I have my days where I want nothing more than to scroll my phone and let the house fall apart. I forget things. I get cranky. I dress for comfort, not for anyone else's approval. But I did not deserve to be treated like that. Not by them. And absolutely unequivocally not by Kieran. I kept thinking, what if I just stopped doing everything? What if they saw what it was like when I wasn't holding it all together? Anyway, sorry if that's just a rant. I just needed to get it all out. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but one thing is crystal clear. I can't just keep letting this happen. I'm not the person who just takes it and smiles. Not anymore. So yeah, I guess I'm back. And it's truly wild how quickly things can go sideways once you stop pretending everything's fine. That morning after dinner, the house felt heavy. Kieran was already up, making coffee, scrolling his phone, acting like absolutely nothing had happened. He even offered me the last of the oat milk like he was doing me some grand favor. I just stared at him. The cluelessness, the sheer smugness. It was baffling. The kids were eerily quiet too. That's never our house. Usually it's a tornado of noise, fighting over chargers, yelling about missing hoodies. But no, they just ate their cereal in silence, peeking at me, then at Kieran. I asked my daughter if she wanted to wear her blue sneakers, her absolute favorite, and she just shrugged. My son even tried to make a joke about the pasta bake. At least it didn't have peas. But he caught my eye and trailed off. Yeah, they knew. After school drop-off, I just sat in my car for 10 minutes. Scrolled Reddit, read half a thread about neighbor drama, and then it hit me, I was just numb. I needed to talk to someone. I texted my friend Tara. We're not super close, but she's fierce. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. Family dinner was a disaster. Coffee? She replied, sure. We met at this bustling coffee shop and somehow miraculously a table was free. I told her everything. She just listened, her eyes fixed on me. Then she finally said, your FIL is a dinosaur, And your husband has always been too eager to impress him. I laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. She wasn't wrong. Then she hit me with it. Why do you let them do that to you? I had no answer. I mumbled something about it being easier to ignore than fight every time. But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. A painful, self-defeating lie. She just nodded. Maybe it's easier, but it's not better. And she was right. By the time I got home, Kieran had texted me 3 times, asking if I was coming back for lunch. We never do lunch together. I had no idea what that was about. I ignored him, started thinking about dinner, and then I just stopped. Why was I planning dinner for people who treated me like hired help? No, not today. So I didn't cook. I ordered pizza, pepperoni for my son, cheese for my daughter. I just couldn't deal with complaints. Kieran came home, took one look at the pizza boxes, and asked with a sigh if I was done sulking. I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Maybe I'm just done, period." He rolled his eyes, muttered something about me never letting things go. I didn't back down. "Yeah," I said, my voice firm. "I'm not letting this go. Not this time." And then, wouldn't you know it, Alexa showed up. Didn't knock, just walked right in, all fake concern. I knew she was there to smooth things over, get back to her regularly scheduled programming. She wanted to talk in private, so we went to the hallway. She started, "I know William's comments can be harsh, but he's just old-fashioned. Don't take it personally." I just stared at her, utterly bewildered. "He called me lazy and useless in front of my kids," I said, my voice tight. She waved a dismissive hand. "Well, he doesn't mean it like that. You know how he is." "Yeah," I said, a bitter laugh escaping. "And I'm done pretending it's okay." She immediately tried to guilt-trip me. Keeping the family together. Kieran's under a lot of pressure. I cut her off. He's under pressure from what? Sitting at the table while his dad trashes his wife. She looked genuinely uncomfortable then, started fiddling with the zipper on her purse. "You know, William just wants what's best for Kieran." I asked, my voice rising. "What about what's best for me? Or for the kids?" She had no answer. "You're not like the women in our family," she finally said, her voice strained. "You don't just do what needs to be done." I looked at her then, a quiet strength blooming in my chest. Maybe that's the problem. She slammed the door on her way out. Kieran, of course, didn't say a word. Just grabbed a beer. Sat in front of the TV. The kids were in their room, tablets blaring, and I didn't care. I sat at the dining table, scrolling through old photos, trying to remember when things got this bad. Or had they always been this bad and I was just too blind to see it? The next morning, something inside me clicked. I was done being the default house manager. I didn't do laundry. I didn't pick up dirty socks. I didn't wipe counters or unload the dishwasher. Kieran asked about his blue shirt. "Try the laundry basket," I said, a shrug I felt deep in my bones. He glared at me like I just spat in his coffee. I just shrugged back. The kids noticed too. My daughter asked for pancakes. "Sure," I said. "If you want to help make them." She actually said okay. We made them. Kieran didn't eat. Alexa texted later. "You can't just stop doing things because you're upset." I ignored her. That day I finally saw it. How much I actually did. Not in a martyr way, but in a literally nothing gets done unless I do it way. I started taking pictures. Groceries, receipts, piles of laundry, my calendar overflowing with appointments and school stuff. I put it all in a folder on my phone. Not really for proof, but for me. To see the truth. Kieran saw me snapping photos. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Just documenting," I said flatly. He rolled his eyes. "You're so dramatic." By the end of the week, the house felt different. The kids were asking more questions. My daughter asked if we could go to Grandma's, my mom, not Alexa. My mom called that night, asked if everything was okay. "Not really," I admitted. "But I'm figuring it out." She offered to come up, but I told her not yet. On Saturday, Kieran's dad called. This time I picked up. I wanted to hear it. He launched into the same old back-in-my-day drivel. How women served their husbands. Blah blah blah. I cut him off. "Well, it's not your day anymore," he sputtered. "You're going to ruin this family with your attitude." My voice was steady. "Maybe it needs ruining." He hung up on me. Later that afternoon, Alexa showed up again. bag of groceries in hand, a sickly sweet smile plastered on her face. "I brought things for dinner," she chirped. "Let's just start over." My stomach dropped. I looked at her. "I'm not cooking." She looked genuinely shocked. "If you want to cook," I continued, "the kitchen's right there." She stammered. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," I replied. She huffed, slammed the bag on the counter, and started chopping veggies. Kieran watched from the living room, silent. Dinner was made with way too much garlic, and the kids barely touched it. Kieran ate in silence, then pushed his chair back and left. My son asked, "Can we have pizza again tomorrow?" After dinner I went for a walk. Left my watch, just took my phone. I needed air. When I got back, Kieran was in the bedroom scrolling. I asked if he wanted to talk. "About what?" he grunted. "About everything," I said. "I'm tired," he said. "Can we not do this?" "Sure," I replied. I left the room, shut the door, and just sat in the hallway. Not crying. Just existing. Away from him. The next day I started making plans. A list of everything I do. All the kids' needs, the errands, every single task. I started moving some of my things into the guest room. Kieran noticed. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Just needed space." He actually laughed and called me ridiculous. "Maybe," I said. He tried to grab my arm as I walked by, but I yanked it away. He slammed the door behind me. I took the kids out for ice cream that night. We sat in the car eating cones, listening to music. My daughter asked, "Are we going on vacation?" I smiled. "Not yet, but maybe soon." My son piped up, "I hope it's somewhere with a pool." When we got home, Kieran's car was gone. I got the kids ready for bed, then sat on the couch scrolling, looking up places to stay. I texted Tara. "Know anyone with a spare room?" She said she'd check. "I'm not in a rush," I told her, but I was. I was done waiting for things to magically get better. So that's where I'm at. Not dramatic. Not crying. Just done. I'm not cooking, not cleaning, not running myself ragged for people who clearly don't care. If that makes me selfish, fine. If that makes me a burden, fine. I'd rather be a burden than a doormat. And yeah, I know this isn't over. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm the one making decisions, not just reacting. I don't know what's next, but I know I'm not going back to the way things were. Here we are again. Honestly, I thought I'd hit my breaking point already, but apparently there's always a little further to fall before you truly hit rock bottom and finally do something about it. I swear, when things get tense in a house, even the dumbest stuff feels like a full-blown crisis. A missing charger, milk left out. That was this past week. The house was messy. Not even bad messy, just lived-in messy. Shoes scattered, kid crumbs, laundry waiting to be folded. Normal stuff. But Kieran? He acted like it was the end of the world. Every single little thing. He'd let out this dramatic sigh, or make a pointed comment about how no one respects the house anymore. He said it to the kids, he said it to me, he even said it to his mom on speakerphone. And she, of course, just agreed and launched into a monologue about how she had 3 kids at my age and kept a perfect house, cooking every meal from scratch. I actually laughed. She did not like that. I started just not answering him. Or I'd simply say, "Then do it yourself." Even the kids started parroting me, which I'll admit made me feel a little guilty. But also, why should they think it was only my job? Kieran got more annoyed with each passing day. I started leaving early, taking the kids for breakfast, to the park, anywhere but the house. He'd text, "Where are you?" "Out," I'd reply. One time he called, asked if I was coming back for lunch. When I said no, he just hung up. Then on Tuesday I walked in and found Alexa in my kitchen, rummaging through my fridge. "I'm just helping out," she said without even looking at me. Since things seemed to be slipping, my jaw dropped. "You don't live here," I said, my voice tight. "I'm just trying to keep things together," she huffed. "You can go home," I told her. She slammed the fridge door and stormed out. Kieran walked in just as she was leaving, a furious look on his face. "What did you say to my mom?" he demanded. I told him honestly that she was overstepping. "This is my family's house too," he spat. "Then maybe your family should do the work too." I shot back, my voice rising. He stepped into my face, his eyes blazing. And for the first time ever I just pushed him. Not hard, just enough to make him stumble back, a startled look on his face. He stared at me, then like a child slapped the wall behind me and stomped out. I just stood there, my heart pounding, honestly surprised he didn't say anything else. After that, everything was just cold. He started sleeping in the living room. The kids didn't ask why. I let them watch extra Netflix. I texted my mom. Things are bad. She immediately said, come down here if you need. Tara texted too. Found someone with a spare room if you need to get away. Maybe soon, I told them both. The next big thing was Thursday. Kieran came home in a mood. I could tell by the way he slammed the front door and didn't even bother taking off his shoes. The kids and I were in the kitchen working on a puzzle. He walked in, took one look at the scattered pieces and just lost it. Is this how we live now? Just garbage everywhere. It's a puzzle, I said, my voice shaking. Not garbage. He, with a snarl, shoved the puzzle off the table. Pieces flew everywhere. My daughter started to cry. Get out. I screamed, my voice raw. This is my house, he yelled back. Not for long, I retorted, the words spilling out before I could stop them. He stormed out again. I just stood there, my daughter sobbing, my son staring blankly at the ruined puzzle. I picked up the pieces, took the kids to their room, and then I called my mom. I think I need to get out, I choked out. Come tomorrow, she said without hesitation. Okay, I whispered. But I didn't want to just run. I wanted him to understand, to see what he'd done. So I went into the living room. He was sitting there, staring at the TV, which wasn't even on. I stood directly in front of him. I'm taking the kids, I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. You can't just decide that, he blustered. Watch me, I said. He tried to grab my arm. I pulled away, and this time I actually slapped his hand off me. My resolve was absolute. Don't touch me, I warned, my voice deadly quiet. He glared, then a sneer on his face. You're seriously blowing up this family over some stupid dinner? I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. No, I'm blowing up this family because you treat me like trash. And you let your parents do it too. This is all in your head, he shouted. I have proof, I said, holding up my phone. I opened the folder of pictures. All the tasks, the calendars, the appointments, the receipts. Everything. He glanced at it for 2 seconds, then tossed my phone on the couch. I went to the kids' room, packed overnight bags. We're going to Grandma's for a bit, I told them. My daughter asked if Daddy was coming. Not right now, I said. My son, eyes wide, asked, is this because of the puzzle? My heart broke. No, I said, pulling them into a tight hug. It's not your fault. As we were leaving, Kieran tried to block the door. I shoved past him, my kids clutched close. He yelled, you'll regret this. I turned just before walking out the door. We'll see. We drove the 3 hours to my mom's that night. The kids fell asleep halfway, but I just listened to music, trying not to think about what I'd just done. My mom hugged me fiercely when we arrived, made up the guest room, and let me rant for an hour. You don't have to go back if you don't want to, she said, her voice gentle but firm. The next day my phone exploded. Kieran. Calls, texts, voicemails. Everything from come home to you're ruining everything to I'll change, just come back. I ignored him. Then Alexa started. Texts about how I was tearing the family apart, hurting Kieran, embarrassing them. Then William. He called my mom's landline, a number I didn't even know he had, and left a message calling me a disgrace. My mom picked up the phone, listened, then calmly unplugged it. I spent the weekend just being. Park with the kids, pancakes with my mom, movies, late bedtimes. I realized how easy it was to breathe when no one was judging my every move. Kieran tried to guilt-trip me again on Monday. The kids needed their dad. I was being unfair, making a scene. I sent him a picture of the calendar with all the appointments he never went to. You can come see them if you want, I texted. But you're not welcome at my mom's. You can't keep me from my kids, he raged. Try me, I replied. My mom said I could stay as long as I wanted. I told her I needed to figure out the next steps. I texted Tara. Is that spare room still available? She said yes. The final, absolute, gut-wrenching straw was when Kieran texted my daughter's old tablet. The one she barely uses, but he must have known the number from setting it up once. Tell mommy to call daddy. My daughter looked at me, confusion in her eyes. Do I have to? She asked. My heart broke. No, I said, pulling her close. You don't have to do anything that makes you uncomfortable. So that's it. I'm out. I'm not going back. He can keep his parents, his house, his attitude. I'll take peace and pancakes at my mom's over walking on eggshells every day. I haven't blocked him completely yet, because I want the kids to have the option to talk to their dad. But I'm not making it easy for him either. Maybe next time he's tempted to laugh at me in front of his dad, he'll remember what it's like to come home to an empty house and a cold pizza box. Maybe not. Honestly, I don't care anymore. I'm finally truly done. Alright, let's just cut to the chase. If you ever want to know how many people think they own a piece of your life, disappear for 3 days with your kids. Seriously, my phone hasn't stopped buzzing. It's like suddenly everyone has an opinion, everyone's a marriage expert, and suddenly I'm a criminal for wanting pancakes at my mom's instead of getting screamed at over pasta. And honestly, while I'm almost impressed by the sheer creativity of their outrage, I'm just exhausted. I'm not going back. I don't care how many times they call. We've been at my mom's place now. It's not fancy, just a small house with mismatched mugs, a fridge full of leftovers, and the world's slowest Wi-Fi. My mom's been making all my childhood favorites, even that weird potato salad I used to hate, which the kids, of course, inexplicably love. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I've actually slept through the night. The kids, they're thriving. My daughter wants to water the plants every morning. My son's obsessed with my mom's old puzzle collection. Neither of them has mentioned Kieran, except to ask if they can bring their favorite stuffed animals next time. That says a lot if you ask me. But yeah, the phone. First Kieran. Calls, texts, missed FaceTimes, even a few emails. Who emails their own wife? At first it was all, "Are you okay? Let's talk. Come home." Then it got angrier. "You're being dramatic. You're ruining this family." Then the guilt tripping started. "The kids miss me. You're confusing them. Don't do this." I muted everything. I haven't blocked him completely because I'm not trying to mess with his relationship with the kids. But I'm also not letting him harass me. My mom, bless her heart, said if he shows up here, she'll call her neighbor. Then Alexa started. 12 texts in a row. These sprawling paragraphs about how family is everything, how I should think about the kids, how I was hurting Kieran and embarrassing them. She tried to call. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called my mom's landline. My mom answered. All I heard was her calm, firm voice saying, "I think you need to talk to your son, not my daughter," before hanging up. Then William. I honestly didn't expect him to even bother. But oh, he did. He left a voicemail so long it filled the inbox, ranting about how I never respected their family, how I made Kieran weak, how I was the reason everything's falling apart. At one point he actually said, "You're a burden," just like I warned him. I played it on speaker for my mom, and she just shook her head, deleted it, and said, "Some people never change." Tara's been checking in, asking if I'm safe, if I want company, if I need anything. She even offered to bring coffee and donuts and just sit in the driveway if I didn't feel like talking. Not today, I told her, but maybe soon. It's so nice to know someone's in my corner, even if we're not BFFs. I think she gets it more than most. She had her own messy family drama years ago, and she knows how fast people can turn on you when you don't play along. But the real kicker? Kieran actually tried to get my own dad involved. They barely tolerate each other, but Kieran called him and said I ran away. Like I'm a teenager who missed curfew or something. My dad called me all huffy asking what was going on. I told him everything. The dinner, the yelling, the constant disrespect. The fact that I was just tired of being treated like a problem in my own house. He went quiet for a second, then just said, "Well, I'm glad you're somewhere safe. Let me know if you need anything." Which for my dad is actually huge. He's more likely to send a meme than say anything serious. So yeah, the phones, the emails, even a DM on Facebook from one of Kieran's cousins I haven't seen in 5 years. Everyone wants a say. Everyone wants me to come back, or explain myself, or apologize for making things awkward. But not one of them, not a single one, asked how I was actually feeling, or if the kids were happy, or if I needed support. It's all about them. Their comfort, their image, their peace and quiet. I think the thing that really drove it home though was watching Kieran try to handle everything I used to do. I didn't even take that much with me. Just the kids, a few changes of clothes, their favorite toys, my charger, and the really important stuff like birth certificates and insurance cards. Not dramatic, just practical. But suddenly he's texting. Where are the kids' medical records? What's the login for the school app? When's the next dentist appointment? He's asking about grocery lists, where to find clean towels, what time trash pickup is. I ignored most of it. But for the big stuff, I sent him the info. I'm not trying to make the kids' lives harder, but I'm also not going out of my way to make his easier. Figure it out like I did.